Well, welcome everyone to 180 U-Turn, the talk show that features some of the greatest conversion stories of our time. Stories of men and women who are on the highway to hell when they encountered a Damascus Road event that completely turned their lives around. Hello everyone, I'm Steve Savant, and today I'm broadcasting from the Life Change Center in Sun City, Arizona, a Christ-centered recovery facility for alcohol abuse, drug, and sexual addictions. For more information on their rehab services, weekly meetings, and special events, just go out to their website at gwparizona.org. That's gwparizona.org. Hey, and if you want to write me at the show, my email address is steve@180uturn.com. That's steve@180youturn.com. Today we're doing our final episode with Nancy Bricci's testimony. Nancy, first of all, I'm glad you're saved. You're in the Lamb's Book of Life now. I love all that. And you talked about your conversion story yesterday. And today we're going to talk about, you came back, you went on the mission field, and you came back, and on the mission field, in the mission school, you met Johnny, your husband, right?
Yeah.
Well, now, when you first met him, and remember this is on recording, so you want to be careful how you're going to answer this question, but did you see him as a potential person to walk the rest of your life with?
That's not what I thought. His faith, yes, but I didn't think it was him.
Mm-hmm. So he's a good brother,
yeah,
but nothing more than that.
Yeah.
Okay, what changed your thinking on that then? Because you're a woman of discernment now, right? Mm-hmm. You have the Lord. He's speaking to you.
Yeah. I learned very early on that the heart is easily deceived. Mm-hmm. And so I had my own personal prayer in regards of my husband. And I really wanted the Lord to make that clear to me when it's His will and who it is. And I really wanted God to pair me up with someone who had a similar story and who also has the same burden in, his heart for the lost and for souls that are in a life that we used to be in. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't quick to settle for anything. Mm-hmm. But when I did see Johnny and hear in all his testimonies, I was really, really drawn to his faith.
Okay, now his testimony is brutal, right? His story is a tough story.
Yeah. You
were still okay with it, even though his testimony was pretty out there?
Yes, because the Lord makes you born again, and who you were is who you were. It isn't who you are now, and He makes you new. And
you saw the change. This is my distinction. The change was so radical that whatever happened to him before has nothing to do with what he is today.
Correct.
I mean, this is the thing when you're looking for, people that your life and his testimony, they may not match, right? You're not a heroin addict, you're not a methamphetamine addict, like that. So when you started to think, when you first had the first inclination, hey, this might be my guy. Well, how did you feel about that?
I fought as hard as I could to not accept, because I didn't want to be fooled, if that makes sense, until the Lord lined it up the way I pleaded with Him many years so He can reveal it to me. But I knew it was going to happen, and I was a bit nervous because it was, I knew it was going to be quick, if that makes sense. And so it was literally trusting in the Lord and walking by faith in the steps that He was asking me to in regards of Johnny.
Okay, then you got married.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in his testimony, he finds himself out in Kenya digging a water well in the middle of nowhere with no money, no tools, anything, just God telling him to go out and do it. When he comes back here to Arizona, he has a heart for addicts. He has a heart for rehab. He has a heart for people that have been in really bad shape like he was. Did you see that as something you could sync up to? That you saw that as really, simpatico with you?
Yeah, because it's actually very funny. I think it was maybe 2 years after coming to know the Lord, I was looking at my church in Massachusetts, and I'm like, wow, that'd be a great space to make bedrooms for drug addicts to receive Jesus Christ. And so it was already in the works within my heart to serve them way before meeting Johnny. So the Lord already prepared me. And being that I was in the Missionary School of God to Provide, I was actually placed in the ministry of rehab as well. So it was already along my path.
So it wasn't a big leap for you?
No.
Okay. Now, how about being a pastor's wife?
That was a different story.
That's a different story. All right.
Because the Lord already revealed to me that my husband was going to be a missionary, because when my dad died, all my dad's responsibility came upon me. It was very overwhelming. And like, we get blizzards in Massachusetts, and I'm doing man labor. And I said, God, like, please either let me get married or have a man help us. And God just said to me, Nancy, I'm preparing you because your husband will not always be there. So you must learn these things. And so I understood 4 years before meeting Johnny that my husband would be a missionary. So I was aware of that, and I was already walking that path. But in regards to being a pastor, that was not on the list.
That was not on your list.
I didn't see that on the list.
Well, I'm just thinking, people who, my life verse is to the tune of Acts 4:13, where it says, and they recognize them as having no training and education, but they have been with Jesus, right? And I always look at my education and background, and it's like, it's not even close, So, so I'm always amazed how God says, whatever learning or education you have, don't worry about it, or I should say, the lack thereof. Don't worry about that, because I can fill in all this for you if you'll just follow me through the steps. When I think about, being a pastor is one thing, being a pastor's wife, and I've met a ton of them in my walk of the last 50 years, and not all of them are always happy, right? Because it can be tough. It can be tough sometimes. But I'm thinking about, when you look for expectations, because you have your whole life ahead of you, very young. You and Johnny are young. You have your whole life before you to serve the Lord. When I'm thinking about expectations, pastor's wife, missionary, drug rehab, that's a lot on your plate. And now, to add to it even more, we have a baby.
Yeah.
Talk about your child.
He's 5 years old.
5 years old?
Yeah.
Wow.
He is full of a lot of energy and loves to be around everything that Johnny does, and that we do here. He loves the brothers that are in the center, and the sisters are in the women's center. So he's very much a part of everything. He's been to Kenya, and he longs and waits to return to his siblings. We call them siblings because we are family with the orphans. And for him, Kenya is family. And so he waits to return.
When you think about him growing up with this kind of lifestyle and his thing, is it pretty exciting?
It is exciting. At the same time, I think it's very important that we, do everything that the Lord has said, but we also cannot forget Him. And so we are still to protect Him in regards of everything that we do, but we also don't want to withhold Him as well from being exposed to what needs to be for him for the sake of his own growth.
Now at 5 years old, now he'll be headed for school here pretty quickly, right?
Yes.
If not already.
Yes, we actually homeschool, so that way we can have the freedom to leave whenever God tells us to leave.
So now I'm adding another resume piece to your puzzle right here.
Yeah.
Teacher.
Yeah.
How's that?
It brings challenging. It's because the mother is always a teacher, whether you are doing homeschool or not. But when you do add some education in there, it's another level, but we love it.
Sometimes when we do a show like this, I like people to sometimes, if they have the time, watch the Monday show, then watch the Friday show. Instead of doing it in a row like I always exhort people to do, watch the Tale of Two Cities, the contrast between what was and what has transpired and now what is happening now.
I'm really thankful to see how the Lord led it. It's been 12 years and I have no depression. I don't need help from anything. 12 years, I only want life. I don't want death. And so through all that He has led me on, and it's been a lot within those 12 years of trials and tests and persecutions, things like that, it's only been joyful to go through them and willing to go through more.
And He gave you the Spirit's stamina to go through it.
Yeah.
You couldn't have done this on your own.
No way. I wanted to give up so many times because I was just tired of all the pressures and all the persecutions. And my pastor would have to get all those text messages from me. I'm done, I can't do this. But he always encouraged me, the Holy Spirit.
Parents are a little bit more accepting?
My dad passed away because of leukemia, but before then, he ended up giving his life to the Lord and receiving Christ as a Savior and as the high priest of his life. And so that was really encouraging. He was actually the last person I thought would come to Christ. And then on my mom, she is much more gentle than before, and my sister reads the Bible. and goes to prayer meetings and wants to talk to me about Christ, and that's a big thing. Still praying for my brother.
And mom likes having a grandson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My mom was the one that would tell me the most to stop praying and to stop reading the Bible. And now she's encourages me and says she's praying for us and the work that God calls us to. So it's really encouraging.
Your story is an encouragement. I know many people are going to listen to this story and be lifted in the Lord, especially listening to the first 3 days. There'll be people that'll be saying, I went through that as a child. And I've had people on already that have been through brutal childhoods. And so if you've said, hey, Steve, I'm that kind of person, maybe this story could be your story. And maybe what the results are coming to the Lord. Everybody takes a different path, it seems like. This was a wild path. I mean, we're only days away, a tick away from being a Muslim, and the Lord intercepted. I would use the word maybe stronger, collided, to make this happen. So I just want to encourage you, if you're on the search and you're doing all your own kind of R&D, research and development here on what major religions that people would go through, if you're going through this, I would open up the Bible. The Bible is a living text. It's living. And when you read it, it's not just reading information, it's not just history. It could be life's answer for you. A specific verse could become your life verse. Well, for more information on the Life Change Center, where we're broadcasting live, and all their rehab services, their weekly meetings, their special events, just go out to their website at gwparizona.org. That's gwparizona.org. So until next time, I'm Steve Savant. And remember, no one's outside the reach of God. No, not one.